It's real. It's actually real. Quinfall might not be a scam. Basically, the Quinfall devs have done a video, and I'm just going to play footage from it over me talking about what it is because it's in Turkish, so there's no point picking clips. The video is actually around about 38 minutes long, and there's a lot of footage in it of the game Quinfall, and it does look like a game. This video is to go along with a closed beta, which I don't know anybody who's got access to that, and nor can they actually share it because it's under an NDA. This video is showing gameplay. Now, it's sort of broken down in two sections. There are some sections where there's basically an interview with the developer, and that's generally shown in the bottom right hand corner. And then they have a couple of bigger sequences where it's literally just gameplay, some combat, some professions, etc. And my reaction to this is one of surprise. I'm surprised they've made this much, but I'm not surprised necessarily about the quality. I thought they were making something from what I'd read in the Discord, and it does look like they are definitely making something. There is some kind of program being made, and probably people can play it. It's not the prettiest thing in the universe. Some of it looks a little bit janky and sometimes a little bit repetitive. There's some popping every now and then, and I think there appears to be some screen tear, although I'm never sure if that's just me or them. But you know what? It looks like a functioning game in alpha or beta. Technically it's in beta now, and I'm pretty surprised. So they actually discuss quite a few points. And the one I want to talk about first and foremost, even though it's not the first thing they address, which I found a little bit weird, is the pre-made asset. They say what they were saying on Discord pretty much. But you know what? It's nice to see a face and some humans actually say it, rather than just people on Discord. When we had the Photoshop studio, everybody thought there wasn't even like real people on it, but you know, there are real people here. And yeah, for the assets, they say, yeah, we used them. I think they said they're not trying to use tools, which I think means they're building their own tools, but using assets. It's basically their own systems, I take that to mean, but the trees, etc., that is bought. I'll be very intrigued to see Nuon's video if he goes through this and we find out exactly what is pre-made and what isn't. But they say they do this to focus on the content that the players actually want. And do you know what? I sort of agree with that. I'm not really that bothered how a tree looks, but I might be bothered about a consistent art style. So we'll see how that really plays out in the long run. They did mention that they have limited resources, and they sort of joked that maybe more MMOs would be made if they actually use pre-made assets. And they say don't underestimate the game just because they're using pre-made assets. I mean, I have no idea what to comment on that necessarily at this point. The proof will be in the pudding, and this pudding seems to be actually being baked. During the video, they do reiterate a couple of things. They talk about the huge size of the map, the 216 square kilometer map, and they actually have this sort of like really cool 3D looking zoomed out version of the map, which if I'm honest, looks pretty exceptional. There was a little bit of popping when they zoomed, but you know what? It actually looked really nice. They do say that the game is going to be available on Steam as a single purchase without a subscription. They talk about the business model a little bit with these V coins, which you can only get on Steam. I'm not really sure I understand what that is. I think it's just the in-game currency that's going to let you buy cosmetics. I don't know why they think it wouldn't be anywhere else on Steam, but okay, whatever. Again, they mentioned that there will be a future beta that you don't pay to get in. It's going to be free to play, and one of the betas won't have an NDA. They say that Quinfall emphasizes like role-playing elements, mini-games, player interaction, things like guitar playing and card games in taverns, all to give you a real RPG experience. By the way, some of this is translated. I don't know if I mentioned this. The video is in Turkish. Well, I'm guessing it's Turkish. And I've just used like Google Translate, well, you know, as YouTube translates it for you, and I've written it down. So apologies if I get anything wrong. They again mentioned how the PvP and the PvE channels are supposed to work, and they also show off the UI. You can see this kind of system existing. Now, a UI is sort of a little bit easier to fake than anything else. Essentially, it's just images. But one thing I would say about the UI, especially when it looks at the items, it gives me a very strong New World vibe. The colours and the boxes are very, very similar. But there is a UI, and for these PvP and PvE channels, the idea is pretty simple. You can PvE without risk, or you can PvP with risk for greater rewards, and I think you can literally just switch between channels, which I think are effectively layers. Fantastic, to be fair, sounds really intriguing. Apparently, and I don't think they showed this off unless I missed it, you can construct houses and villages yourself. This game sort of feels like they're trying to be New World, Ashes of Creation, and Pax Day all entwined into one, made by effectively an indie studio. And this indie studio, by the way, they keep mentioning their previous game, Cairo Online, which from what I can gather never properly released. I don't know why they're so proud of that. I mean, it was a game for sure, but they seem to be very happy about it. But you know, the jury's out if that's even worth talking about. They talk about the profession systems. Apparently there's going to be 16 different professions, logging, fishing, all that kind of good stuff. They again mentioned the dynamic seasons. That's actually going to affect trade, so like the caravan routes and stuff like that, which is why it sort of reminds me a little bit of Ashes of Creation. There's a type of profession that they're calling the labour profession. Obviously, keep in mind that that's translated. And this is effectively where you're going to be able to hire people to do contracts for you. I will pay you XYZ if you go and do XYZ for me. All right, again, sounds cool. There's a transportation profession, which is player-controlled vehicles. I'm presuming that means the caravans, but you can also get in the Zeppelins as well. There are portals to teleport around, but because of this economy where it's going to be like there's a rare resource from this biome and you need to transport it to somewhere else, if you have something from that biome, you can't teleport to another one or something like that. There are some items that basically cut off the teleportation and you have to walk. I mean, it may be a little bit gimmicky, but I guess it works. It makes sense. I mean, they do mention that they're trying to focus on maintaining smooth gameplay in crowded season dynamic environments, but I mean, we'll be the judge of that. This game apparently is being made on Unity rather than Unreal, so I have no idea what the frame rate will be, what the optimization will be. They do show off some of the performance menu, so you can see the settings and all that kind of good stuff. They also say that they're going to do more dev updates, which, you know, I'm actually sort of vaguely interested now. At first I thought it was a pure scam, but now I'm starting to believe a little bit. I think it's going to be real. I think it's just going to be a bit janky. They also really do show off quite a lot of the combat. The combat looks a little bit fast, and I just mentioned the word janky. That's the word that sort of springs to mind. It sort of feels a little bit like a budget version of New World, although some of you might say a better version of New World. I can't put all the footage here because there's pretty much like about 30 minutes worth of actual gameplay. Some of it is just walking around and a little bit boring, so you might not want to check it out, but it actually looks real. It looks playable. Does it look like it's going to set the MMO genre on fire and be the next greatest thing in the universe? No. Does it look like a pure scam where there's no actual gameplay and it's all just going to be, you know, a mythical pipe dream? Not quite either. It sort of looks like it is what I always thought that it was. It looks like something real is being made. Otherwise, it's an awful lot of effort to make a scam. But it looks like it might just not be AAA quality. But to be fair, what they're offering sounds cool. One thing we definitely shouldn't do is give them any money until we've actually seen real people play this game. I personally would love to see it and see if it's actually real. I'm just so confused. There's actual real people, there's actual gameplay. I mean, it's actually real. However, the old adage applies. I'll believe it, not when I can see it, but when I can play it. For now, big shout out to my YouTube members. Let me know your thoughts on Quinfall. This saga is getting more and more interesting as the days go by. Have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.